Imagine you're in your car on a Tuesday morning. You're caffeinated, sort of focused, and exactly 4 minutes late for a meeting that absolutely could have been an email. Then it happens. A tiny amber light blinks on. The check engine light. On paper, that's a minor mechanical issue. In reality, for a lot of people, that light is the opening scene of a financial horror movie. Because you know how this goes. If you take the car in today, some mechanic will say, "Good news, it's just a sensor," and then charge you $300. But your bank app says $42. Payday's on Friday. Friday feels like next century. So you do the only thing you can afford to do. You ignore it. You turn up the radio to drown out the new little ticking noise under the hood, and you quietly pray to the gods of internal combustion that the car holds together just a bit longer. 2 months later, the math comes due. Rainy Thursday night. Highway shoulder. Your car finally dies. The tow truck is $200 before anyone even opens the hood. That ignored sensor? It failed. It took the transmission with it. Now the repair bill is $2,000. No car means you miss 3 days of work. That's another $400 gone. What started as a $300 annoyance has turned into a nearly $3,000 disaster. That's not bad luck. That is the math of being broke. It's a real, measurable tax that society charges you for the crime of not having enough money in the first place. Most financial gurus will tell you that wealth is just about discipline and poverty is just a pile of bad habits. They'll say, stop buying lattes, cancel Netflix, save $15 a month, as if that's going to magically move you into a new tax bracket. That kind of advice isn't just unhelpful, it's a form of financial gaslighting. It ignores a fundamental economic truth often called the Boots theory of socioeconomic unfairness, popularized by the late author Terry Pratchett. The idea is simple. You take two people, one wealthy, one struggling. The wealthy person can afford to spend $50 on a pair of high-quality, waterproof leather boots. Those boots last 10 years. Their feet stay dry the whole time. The struggling person, they've got $10. They can't wait until they have 50 because they have to go to work tomorrow. So they buy the cheap, cardboard-soled boots. Those boots die after one season of rain and snow. Next year, they do it again and again. At the end of 10 years, the struggling person has spent $100 on boots and still has wet feet. The rich person spent $50 and has been comfortable the whole time. The rich person is literally $50 richer because they could afford the entry fee to a high-quality life. This isn't just about boots. In 2026, this poverty premium is baked into almost everything. Let's talk about something as glamorous as toilet paper. If you have $50 of spare cash, you can go to a Costco and buy the mega pack. When you break it down, you're paying maybe 50 cents a roll. You're stocked for months. You've hit maximum efficiency. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, you don't have $50 to lock up in toilet paper inventory. You have $5. So you go to the corner shop and grab a little 4-pack for $6. Now you're paying $1.50 a roll for the exact same product. You're literally paying 3 times more because you couldn't afford the bulk discount. This isn't just toilet paper. It's laundry detergent, diapers, canned goods, everything in your pantry. The math is brutal. The less money you have, the higher your personal rate of inflation becomes. It gets darker when we zoom out from the grocery store to the banking system. Banking is a pay-to-play arena. If you keep $10,000 in your checking account, the bank rolls out the red carpet. No monthly fees, free checks, maybe even a little bit of interest just for existing. If you're struggling, the bank stops being a service and becomes a predator. Picture this. You have $20 in your account. You forget about a small subscription, $25. Your account goes negative $5. Does the bank say, "Hey, we get it, times are tough. Here's a grace period"? No, they charge you $35 overdraft fee. You basically borrowed $5 for 24 hours and paid $35 for the privilege. That's an effective interest rate in the hundreds of percent. Banks make billions every year off people who have less than $1,000 in their accounts. That's not an accident. It's a massive transfer of wealth from the bottom to the top, dressed up as fees. Now let's talk about the transportation trap. Anywhere that's not New York or San Francisco, having a job basically means having a car. A person with savings and decent credit buys a reliable 3-year-old car for $20,000. They get a nice low interest rate. It runs for a decade with routine maintenance. The person without savings or credit, they end up at a buy here, pay here lot. They're sold a high-mileage car worth $4,000, marked up to $8,000 because the dealer is helping with the financing. The interest rate is painful, maybe 20+%, because the buyer is risky. Over the life of the loan, they might pay $15,000 for a $4,000 car that dies before the loan is even halfway paid off. Now they're making car payments on a vehicle that doesn't run, while scraping together bus fare to get to work. Housing works the same way. When you rent, you're paying 100% interest. You gain zero equity. You're paying your landlord's mortgage plus their profit margin. People love to say, just buy a house, as if it's a willpower problem. To buy that house, you need a down payment, maybe $20,000. But if you're already paying $2,000 a month in rent, often more than a mortgage would be, you can't save that down payment. So you're trapped paying more every month for the privilege of owning nothing. You're renting your shelter. You're renting your stability. You're renting your future. So it's very easy to conclude the game is rigged and just give up. But here's the thing. You can play the game better. The first step isn't get rich. The first step is stop the bleeding. This is why even a tiny emergency fund, like a few $100s, is so powerful. That money isn't for a rainy day. It's a weapon. It's also the most powerful money you will ever own. It's the moment your life switches from pure defense to the start of offense. From there, you start asking a new question about every dollar. Not what's the monthly payment, but what's the total cost of ownership. The system wants you hypnotized by that low monthly number because it hides the lifetime price tag. When you get a little extra cash, the temptation is to finally feel normal, to treat yourself. After months of deprivation, that's completely understandable. But that's where the trap hides. If instead you use that extra money to buy reliable tires or to see a dentist before you need a root canal, you're not just spending, you're buying future freedom. You're prepaying to escape the poor tax so you never have to pay it again. The uncomfortable truth is that our economy runs on this cycle. Companies budget for your late fees. Banks depend on overdraft revenue. Manufacturers count on selling you the cheap, disposable version of the same thing over and over again. When you start making boots theory decisions, choosing durability, avoiding fees, killing high-interest debt, you become a bad customer for them, and you become a great leader for your own life. You stop playing their game. You start playing yours. You buy the boots that last. You buy the freedom to say no to the predatory loan. And slowly, stubbornly, you walk out of a hole that was designed to keep you in it. If you find this video interesting, please share this with someone who's struggling and blaming themselves. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.